All right, let's get right into it. We're about to explore the incredible power of your mind. And I mean power. We'll start with what science can actually prove, and then we're going to push right to the very edge of what we think of as reality. The big idea here? That your thoughts don't just see the world, they actively create it.
So let's kick things off with this quote from researchers at Stanford. And honestly, this idea is a total game changer. It basically says our minds aren't just passive cameras, just recording whatever happens. No, it's saying we're the architects. We're using our own beliefs and expectations like a blueprint to build the very reality we experience every single day.
Okay, so that naturally leads to the big question, right? The one that's going to drive everything we talk about today. Just how deep does this rabbit hole go? I mean, is this influence just about our feelings? Or can it actually change our bodies, our lives, and maybe, just maybe, the very fabric of the universe itself?
All right, first up, let's look at the hard evidence. We're starting with the science here. Psychology, medicine. This isn't just theory or philosophy yet. This is stuff that's been documented and repeated in the lab.
So here's where it gets really interesting. We've got two ways of looking at this. On one hand, there's bottom-up processing. That's probably what you learned in school, right? Your eyes see, your ears hear, that data goes to your brain, and boom, that's reality. But then there's the top-down model. And this is where the magic happens. It says your brain doesn't just passively receive data. It actively uses your existing beliefs and expectations to interpret everything. So your internal world is literally, and I mean literally, shaping what you perceive of the world out there.
And the best, most famous example of this? The placebo effect, of course. We've all heard of it. It's just an incredible demonstration of how a simple belief, thinking a sugar pill is a powerful medicine, can cause real, measurable, physiological changes in your body. Your mind's expectation literally flips the switches on your body's own healing systems. It's a direct link, a bridge, between what you believe and your own biology.
And we're not talking about a tiny effect here. Look at this. A study from Wake Forest University found that just by expecting a stimulus to be less painful, people's perceived pain dropped by almost 30%. That's huge. Think about that. Their physical reality, how much pain they actually felt, was directly changed by nothing more than an expectation.
Okay, so if our minds can affect our bodies, what about the world outside of us? That's the logical next step, isn't it? To dig into that, we're going to move from the lab into a really interesting framework that's designed to do exactly that, to hack reality.
And that framework is called reality transurfing. It comes from an author named Vadim Zeland, and his whole philosophy is built on a mind-bending idea that reality isn't just one fixed single timeline. Instead, it's a massive space of infinite possibilities. He calls them alternatives, and the key is that we can actually learn to choose which of those possibilities we experience.
So a huge piece of this puzzle is something Zeland calls excess potential. You know that feeling when you want something so badly it hurts, or when you're terrified of something happening? That intense energy, that overimportance you're placing on it, that's excess potential. According to this theory, it creates this energetic imbalance, and the universe basically tries to correct it, which often means pushing the very thing you want farther away from you.
The way to fix this, you have to shift from what he calls inner intention, the gritting your teeth, forcing, struggling part, to outer intention. This is totally different. It's a calm, quiet knowing that something is yours. It's about letting go of that desperate need to control everything, reducing the importance, and just trusting the process. You choose your destination, and then you let the river of reality carry you there.
And this brings us to the central metaphor of the whole system, and it's a beautiful one, the dual mirror. Just picture it. The entire world is like a gigantic mirror. On one side of the glass, that's you, your thoughts, your inner world, and on the other side is the reflection. That's the physical universe you experience.
Now here is the absolute key takeaway. Most of us spend our whole lives reacting to the reflection. We see what's happening in the world, we get angry or happy or sad about it, and we react. But all that does is reinforce the reflection we're already seeing. Transurfing says no, stop doing that. Ignore the reflection. Instead, focus on the image, the thing you are holding in your mind. You compose the mental picture of what you want and you hold it. You give the mirror a brand new image to reflect back at you. Okay, so let's take this idea of the observer creating the image and just blow it up to the cosmic scale. We're now heading to the absolute frontier of science. We're talking quantum physics, where the role of the person watching, well, it challenges literally everything we think we know about the universe.
See, when you get down to the tiniest subatomic levels, reality gets weird. It's not solid, it's not fixed, it's just a shimmering wave of possibilities. An electron isn't in any one specific place, it's kind of everywhere at once, in a cloud of probability. Until you look at it, until it's observed. And that simple fact creates a mystery that has haunted physicists for 100 years.
And some really out there frontier theories propose a truly stunning answer to that mystery. What if consciousness isn't just a bystander that happens to notice reality snapping into place? What if our consciousness is the very thing that causes it to snap into place? Models like CCQFT suggest that without a conscious observer, the universe just stays as a bunch of maybes, of potentials. And it's the very act of you or me looking at it that forces one of those maybes to become real.
Now, look, this is definitely speculative stuff. It's way out on the edge. But if it has even a kernel of truth, wow. It completely reframes our place in the universe. It means we're not just spectators sitting in the audience of the cosmos. It means we're on stage. We're part of the play. We are co-creators of the universe we experience.
All right, that's some pretty huge cosmic stuff. So let's bring it all the way back down to Earth, back down to you. Let's talk about a simple, powerful technique that puts these ideas into practice.
This comes from a mystic from the early 20th century named Neville Goddard, and his whole teaching boiled down to one secret. It's not about just thinking about what you want. It's about embodying the feeling of already having it. He'd use these simple little phrases like this one to get himself into the emotional state of his wish already being a fact.
And he laid out a very specific method for doing this, for impressing your goal onto your subconscious mind. For him, the subconscious was the real creative power. So here's how it works. The magic moment is that state right as you're drifting off to sleep. You don't just think about your goal. Instead, you imagine a very short, simple scene that would happen after your wish was fulfilled, maybe a friend congratulating you. And you just loop that scene over and over, really feeling the emotions of it until you fall asleep. You're basically giving your subconscious its marching orders for the reality to build while you sleep.
Okay, so we've taken a pretty wild journey, haven't we? From science lab all the way to the edge of the cosmos and right back into our own minds. And that leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. So what's the big takeaway here? It's the profound possibility that you have way more power than you think. Whether we're talking about the proven science of the placebo effect, a framework like reality transurfing, or the simple act of feeling your wish fulfilled, the message, when you boil it all down, is exactly the same. Stop reacting to the reflection in the mirror. Stop letting the world tell you who you are. Start composing the image. Because the reality you wake up to tomorrow, it might just depend on the picture you're holding in your mind tonight.